What's up, Internet? You're tuning in episode 134 of Nintendo Noise, Slipscreen Games' weekly Nintendo podcast. I'm your host, Pete and Bessie, joined as always by my very good friend and co-host, Mr. Steven Radford.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Steve. So here's the thing. I'm going to just part the kimono right away on this one, and we got to catch the people up. Last week on the show, right, we did a fantastic part one to this week's show where we talked about roughly 20 years of Nintendo history as part of our overall ranking of 42 years of Nintendo history from 1981 with the release of Donkey Kong and kind of the beginning of the modern era of Nintendo. So we got about halfway through last week. We decided we were going to wait for this week, or push the back half to next week's show. As we were wrapping up, we found that there were a few games not on the list that we had been using, right? And that there was a potential that some games had been missed. We told people to write in. I'm sure many of you did. Here's the thing. Steve has to not be on next week's show. So in a way,
I'm moving house.
He's moving. So the only way that we could get this show done as the next episode was to record it before he moved. And as a result, did you get to fact check the list, Steve?
Yeah, obviously.
Oh,
No,
come on. I'm teeing you up. We got to be honest with the kids. You did not
No.
fact check the list.
We're
I did
going
not.
this is gospel. You know, the Nintendo.fandom.com wiki is absolutely gospel for me. So that's what we're going with.
So here's where we're at. If a game was missed, we're sorry. Thanks for writing in. And if we miss one this week, we're sorry. Write in for next week. We'll catch them all next time. All right.
Yeah, maybe we do some adjustments, you know, before we do the definitive list next week. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see, I guess, how it goes. If we have something that's messed up enough that we got to apologize in that seriously,
Yeah.
then maybe we can. But so like I said, last week we got up to the year 2000. So let's give a quick recap of the list so everybody can kind of get reoriented. If you missed last week's show, I would recommend you go and check that one out before you jump into this one. But if not, you can get caught up right here on the list as it stands. So we'll go, I guess we'll go in chronological order, right? So this is from number 1 to number 20 that we've ranked so far. Coming in at number 1, we have 1998 headlined. And I'll give you this context too, because so many games can come out in a year. We've chosen headlines of what is the big thing that headlined that year.
Our favorites.
Well, yeah, in some cases. 1998, we have the release of Pokemon Red and Blue in the United States, and that's the other thing. All these things are in North America. That's the last recap I got for you. Now we're all caught up, everybody. So we have Pokemon Red and Blue, Zelda Ocarina of Time, the release of the Game Boy Color, Banjo-Kazooie headlining. In number 2, we have 1985, which has the release of the NES, and of course, the main event being Super Mario Brothers, as well as a couple other pretty notable releases. 1996, we have the N64, headlined by Super Mario 64 and Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo. In 4th place, we have 1989 with the release of the Game Boy, headlined by Tetris, Super Mario Land, and Alleyway. 1987 came in at number 5, headlined by the original Legend of Zelda, Kid Icarus, and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! 1992 comes in at number 6 with Super Mario Kart, Kirby's Dream Land, and Zelda A Link to the Past. In 1991, coming in at number 7, we have the release of the Super Nintendo, headlined by Super Mario World and Metroid 2 on the Game Boy. In number 8, we have 1999, headlined by Donkey Kong 64, Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Yellow, Mario Party, and Smash Brothers. At number 9, we have 1997, headlined by Mario Kart 64, Diddy Kong Racing, and GoldenEye. And then at number 10, we have 1981, headlined by Donkey Kong. And now I'm going to pass the baton to my good co-host Steve so he can read the next 10 and I can take a drink.
Then in number 11, in 1994, Super Metroid, Wario Land, and Donkey Kong Country were released. The year 2000 came in for number 12. That was Zelda Majora's Mask, Perfect Dark, Mario Tennis, Mario Party 2, Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon Gold and Silver. That was a lot of games to go and come in at number 12. Are we sure?
I was saying, you want to relitigate. You're the one that
No,
put
I
it
think
there.
that was right. No, because they're all like mid.
They
Number
are
13,
not mid. You don't just say that and drive by on this podcast. You better take that back.
Number 13, 1986, and Metroid was released. Number 14, 1993, Star Fox, the Super FX chip, and Kirby's Pinball Land. 1984 came in at number 15 with Excite Bike, Punch Out, and Balloon Fight. Number 16 was 1990 with Super Mario Bros. 3 and Star Tropics. Number 17 was 1988, Zelda 2 and Super Mario Bros. 2. 1983 was number 18, and that was Mario Brothers, Donkey Kong 3, and Popeye, the arcade releases. Number 19 was 1982 with the releases of Donkey Kong Jr. and Sky Skipper in the arcades. And our current last place at number 20 was 1995 when Nintendo's Virtual Boy was released along with Earthbound and Yoshi's Island.
And I want to be clear, I lobbied for that one to be last, not because Earthbound and Yoshi's Island are not excellent, but because the Virtual Boy is Nintendo's most public failure ever, right? That a console that did not even make it 1 year on the market. Wild.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's one that you gotta. I think you're hard pressed to have a worse year than that, right? Like I'm not saying
No,
we couldn't.
the Wii U's pretty
There's
bad, you
some
know.
bleak years in the end of the Wii and the beginning of the Wii U, so like, yeah, we might get there, but I think that's a tough one. But let's get to some ranking some New Year's, Steve. How does that sound?
Sounds good. Starting back at the year 2001. The millennium's over, and we're into the year 2001, which was, of course, the release of the GameCube and the Game Boy Advance.
What a year.
Along,
I mean, I think
yeah,
right off the bat, that's got to rank high that you have a dual console release in a year. That's sick, right? I mean, come on.
I would agree, and probably my favorite Nintendo handheld of all time, like exclusive, like explicit handheld, not the hybrid console we got now. I think the Game Boy Advance was my favorite, and some phenomenal games for the Game Boy Advance came out this year, along with some N64 releases and GameCube releases. For me, this was really the Game Boy Advance's big year. My favorite Nintendo game of all time, Wario Land 4, was released in 2001. So for me, this is a very high year.
This is a hell of a year. Like, and you call out the new consoles. You can't sleep on the stuff that got released on the last gen consoles too, though, right? So I mean, 2001, we have Conker's Bad Fur Day on the N64, Dr. Mario 64, F-Zero Maximum Velocity on the Game Boy Advance, Golden Sun on the Game Boy Advance, Kirby Tilt and Tumble on the Game Boy Color, Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages on the Game Boy Color, beloved Zelda games, of course, Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube, Mario Kart Super Circuit on the Game Boy Advance, which we found out on a recent episode of Nintendo Noise, one of the highest rated Mario games of all time. Mario Party 3 on the N64, a personal favorite of both of ours, right? Mario Tennis on the Game Boy Color, Mickey Speedway USA on the Game Boy Color, Paper Mario on the N64. Come on, people. Pikmin on the
I
GameCube,
know,
an
yeah.
all-time favorite of mine, that franchise. Come on, Pokemon Crystal on the Game Boy Color, another fantastic entry in the second generation of Pokemon. We had Pokemon Stadium 2 on the N64, Super Mario Advance on the Game Boy Advance, and then Super Smash Bros. Melee on GameCube and
The
Wario
one
Land
people still
4
play to this day
to
in
this
like
day.
competitions, yeah.
So this is one I don't even think you can put all the most important games. I like that you put Wario Land 4 in number
It's
1.
number one. It's the one
Yeah.
that matters the most.
Here's the thing, Steve. It's not, but like you're the guy making the list, so you can do that, and I respect it. You know.
You see your numbers that you put in, uh, they're gonna fuck up everything because I've now got to put a new row in here or wherever. So
What do you
we're
mean?
gonna have to. So
How
I'll
do you got
show
to
you
put
what
it
I
in
mean
your?
in a second. Because when say we go, this comes in between number one and number two. I've got to insert a row and then paste it up there.
And then you just drag it. It's fine.
It does. No, it's not gonna work.
It will. You insert a row, you move it down, and then you move the thing.
Okay. All right. Okay. Fine.
It's
Yeah.
easy. You can
All
do
right.
it. I
Okay.
believe in you. You know, for the extra work, that's why you get to put
Good
Wario
old
Land first.
spreadsheets. Where do you
Um,
think this comes? Because for me, I think this is either two or three. Or maybe
wow.
it's number 4, I think maybe below the N64.
Ooh, I don't know. Cause like you said two, and I was like, that's kind of a hot take. But now I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I mean, is it? Because you
It's
just made the point about how 2000 is ranking low for how many headlining games there are. This is that, and it has two console launches, which both had pretty good launch libraries, and multiple games that people would consider for top tens on the previous generation that's winding down, right? Like, that's really hard to ignore of
I
what a
know.
just like banger year that is, right? Of like Mario Party 2 and fucking Paper Mario and then like, and you know, Pokemon Stadium 2. Like, these are games I think people would easily say are top 10, top 25.
Right, and not to mention like Golden Sun, which is one of the like cult classics on the GBA, Conker's Bad Fur Day on the N64.
Another cult
There's
classic,
so
right?
much here.
Yeah.
I think for me,
And again, Pikmin is a new franchise, right? Like,
but you
and
got to
and
remember the like context of the list here, though, right? It's what was Nintendo's best year, what was important for them,
yeah.
what was a banger year for Nintendo. I think the GBA and the GameCube. I mean, the GameCube was maybe less of a success than the N64, but it teed them up for the
Well,
Wii.
and to be
And
fair, the Game Boy Advance was less of a success than the Game Boy. Like, this is one of those generations where they iterated on what came before and it was less of a return. But I don't I still think of this as a time that was really good for Nintendo. There's a lot of really
Mhm.
high quality games that come out. This is coming off of, their successful transition into 3D and kind of the sundown of that console. Like, I think this is a really good year for them when you look at it that way. Of like,
Is it better than the is it, like, more important than, say, the release of the N64 and Super Mario 64? Is it more important than the release of the original Game Boy and Tetris and Super Mario Land? Is it more important than Zelda?
I think it's hard. I think it's hard to say. I think this is where the parameters that we've set get tough because it is like a mix of things. It's not just the best games that came out that year, right? It's like the overall kind of like, you know, legacy of the company, I guess. Right. And it's like, I look at this and it's like, would I think there's an argument to be made, right? To your point of like, did are these other things maybe more important in one way or another, right? And it's like, I think arguably, but I think when you get into the sheer volume of really high quality software this year, I'm inclined to maybe reevaluate a little bit because I think, we've talked about how having six software in a year is not enough necessarily on its own to get it up, like
Yeah.
on the upper echelons of the list. But for me, the fact that it's even if both of these consoles we admit are not as good as their predecessors, they both came out in the same year. Like, that's
Uh,
crazy. That's
Still for me,
wild.
I think for me this comes below the Game Boy though. The Game Boy and the N64 and the NES, we both said were kind of monumental, not just for Nintendo, but also for the industry as a whole. The NES saved the video game industry in America. The N64 brought 3D gaming to the living room with the joystick. And the Game Boy, single-handedly pretty much invented the handheld gaming market. Yeah, it was around, but it wasn't really doing much. I think for me, this comes in at number 5 as the 5th most important year for Nintendo currently.
Okay. So, oh man. Ooh.
I just
So
think the
okay,
Game Boy and Tetris, it's
the
not more important than that.
you're right, but when I look at what else came out that year, it's like you have Mario Land, like you have, the NES or the Game Boy ports of some of like the NES sports classics. Like, it's not to say that, that these aren't good memorable games. I think right there it's two of the more memorable games on the Game Boy, but it's like this is several of the best games of multiple generations right here. I think that's hard to ignore. I don't think there are a lot of other examples of that where you have all-time great games on 4 different consoles coming out in the same year as new hardware. Like, that's just like that feels so unprecedented in like a crazy way. And it's like it's not to take away from the Game Boy and like what a big moment that was and what it meant for handheld gaming and all that stuff. Like, I definitely agree with you. Um, but yeah, man, I don't know. Like, something about it feels like So what can no other year get above these then until we're,
Well, no, it did. Like Pokemon did, and Ocarina of Time did, and so did the
right?
Game Boy Color, because we knew that that was so meaningful. Pokemon was so meaningful to them. The
Sure.
creation of Pokemon was so meaningful to them that it came in at number one. I don't know that, the creation of Pikmin and Paper Mario is as meaningful as the creation of the Game Boy.
I think you're right about that, but I guess my question is, okay, okay. Here's the kind of period I'll put on my point, and then we'll hash it out and we'll put this thing on the list. I agree with that point. I don't think any one of these things is as important as the Game Boy. But can we not consider that the creation of the Game Boy, or I'm sorry, the creation of the Game Boy Advance and the GameCube and Paper Mario and what was the other new one on this list? Pikmin, and arguably the best game in the Smash Brothers franchise, and
Mm,
arguably the best Mario Party game, and arguably the best Pokemon game, and the start of the Luigi's Mansion franchise. We forgot about that one. And Golden Sun, and Conker's Bad Fur Day, and
okay,
the
well, where are you saying then? Where are you putting it? Because I've given my case. You've not told me where you think it should go. If it doesn't go in slot number 5, where do you think it goes?
I, I'm inclined to say 4.
So below the N64.
I'm almost willing to argue for 3. But the fact that you think 5, one more up, I think is maybe better then, but I don't know. What do you think about 3? Is that crazy? Is
No,
that
I can
crazy?
see it. Great. I don't know why. I kind of feel like the Game Boy and the N64 are the wrong way around to some extent, but
I can vibe with that argument. You wanna flip them?
yeah, I think so.
Okay,
Let's
so then do we do this is number 3, Game Boy's number 4, N64 is number 5?
All right, hold on. Let me move the N64 and the Game Boy around, and we can kind of see how we feel.
Yeah, okay.
So we've done that. So we've got Pokemon, NES, Game Boy. Now, where do we think this one goes?
I think it goes I think it okay, let's try it like this. Ooh, ooh, there we go. Alright,
You think
Jeeves,
there?
I don't know, how do you feel about that? Is that crazy? 2001 is number 3? Because here's my thing, like, I
I
love the Game Boy, right? Like, I'm a
Yeah,
Game
I
Boy
can live
Color
with
guy.
that because the Game Boy Advance was the best Game Boy. It was like, the last one.
Yeah. And again,
Yeah.
it's like this is also the year that is kind of the winding down of the Game Boy. So it's like, yeah, it's not the year it came out, but it's kind of its swan song, right? And it was
Okay.
like,
Okay.
and you have Crystal and Oracle of
And
Ages, and
presumably the Game Boy Player came out this year as well. When did that come out?
I think that's right because it was on the GameCube. Oh wait,
Yeah, but
maybe that's the
was it
next
no,
year.
2003, the Game Boy
Wow,
Player.
that far away. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm
I wish
glad.
to
I
remember
think
that for 2003.
keep that in mind. I think this is good. You like this at
Okay.
3?
Yeah. Yeah, I still think the Game Boy should be higher, but I'll let you have it.
I appreciate that you feel that way because I also kind of feel that way. But I also think this is the right call. So I feel like
Okay.
that's a good
Alright,
place to be.
alright,
And hey, we can still switch it around. We just flipped 2 years, right? So like
yeah.
let's
T
leave it
yeah,
there. Let's see how we feel about it.
2000 and 2002 is a fucking banger as well, though, so this is gonna be a problem.
All right, so let's get in 2002. Hit me. What do we got?
We got Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2 on the Game Boy Advance. Great re-release of the SNES
That's
classic.
how I learned about that game. Well,
Mhm.
I'd played it before, but that's how I like played through it, right? So
Mario Sunshine on the GameCube, Yoshi's Island Super Mario Advance 3 on the Game Boy Advance, another re-release.
also
Metroid
how I played
Prime
that for the
and
first time.
Mario Party 4, and Animal Crossing on the GameCube. Kirby, Nightmare in Dreamland, and Link to the Past and Four Swords on Game Boy Advance.
Woof. Woof. Big one. Big year. Animal Crossing obviously is the headline. That is, Animal Crossing is now one of the biggest Nintendo franchises. So
Yeah,
like
and see, that alone makes me think it should go so high. Like probably number 2 in terms of like heights. is Animal Crossing being created. Because
Ooh.
think about how many copies that sells, how many consoles that franchise has gone on to sell
Dude, but
in the
if you're
future.
going by that logic, it can't go if that's the reason it should be number 2, then it cannot go ahead of Mario.
That's the reason Pokemon's number 1.
Yeah, but Pokemon's the biggest media franchise in the world, right?
Yeah. Does each game sell as many units as Animal Crossing these days?
No, but they put out more games. They put out 5 games a generation. If you add up
Yeah,
all
that's
their
fair.
sales,
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
definitely, they couldn't put out 5 Animal Crossing games a generation, I'll tell you that,
Mhm.
right? So,
Okay.
that's not to minimize.
It's gotta go above 2001 though. It has to. Animal Crossing. Come on, Pikmin and Luigi's Mansion don't touch the sides in comparison to Metroid Prime, Mario Party 4, one of my favorite Mario Parties, and Animal
Metroid Prime
Crossing.
on this list is a very, very is a we didn't even get to that. That's a big deal. That is a big one for sure.
Like Mario Sunshine, we can forget about because it's okay.
It's good. It's fine. It's good. I'm not here to have to relitigate that fucking argument. It's a good game. It's just the worst 3D Mario game, which is like saying it's like the worst time you had McDonald's. It's like, yeah, it's still pretty goddamn good though, right? Like it's good.
I
Don't
don't know,
worry
I've
about it.
had some bad McDonald's.
Well, there's some moments of Mario Party 3 that probably feel exactly how that tastes. Or I'm sorry, Super
Mm.
Mario Sunshine. The
Yeah,
Gen
probably
Z
the time that
users.
Yoshi's throwing up, he's like,
Yeah, that's not so
"Oh."
great. Not so great. Yeah, I mean, to me, I this is a really strong year. Don't get me wrong; those 2 games are incredible headlines, and all of the other games on this list are games that I have a lot of nostalgia for. So, like, you don't have to
Okay.
argue with me that it needs to be high. Um, I'm struggling with the it versus 2001 thing, just because I think 2001 has such a high volume of bangers. Like, I give you that Animal Crossing is bigger than any one of those games, but like, Jesus
Mhm.
Christ, all of them though, like the sheer volume of what's offered there is like really, really compelling. And as great as Animal Crossing is, like I think I do come back a little bit to like the smash of it all, where it's like, yeah, Smash started on N64, but Melee's where Smash became what Smash is, and people still play that game. What other
Well, it's the
game?
same deal with Animal Crossing, Animal Forest was on the,
Yeah,
N64, but really it was the GameCube, like,
sure.
you had your own
Yeah.
special memory card that had your little town on it.
Don't get me wrong. I would probably sit here and argue that Animal Crossing is the best game on the GameCube, or at least my favorite, but I mean, I don't
Okay.
know.
I can say that it's not gonna
Where's the
be,
Let me ask you this. Where's the lowest you'd be comfortable putting it, and then let's argue our way up. What do you think it can't be below?
Zelda, number 6. It can't be below number 6. It's either
Okay,
6 or above for me.
I agree with you. I agree with that. I agree with that. I'd be very comfortable with that at number 6. I feel like you could argue it as high as number 5 for me.
Mm,
That seems too high to
above
you.
Super Mario 64?
So 6, we just gut checked it. We figured it out.
'Cause,
I
like,
think that's it.
because Mario Sunshine sucks.
So so there we go. Number 6. I think we're good.
Alright then, number
We did it.
6, and
We
it
did it.
goes. There we
You do that
go.
and I'll move the numbers up. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah, there we go. Alright, number 6, 2002, Animal Crossing, Metro Prime, Mario Party 4, Super Mario Sunshine, and a
I think
bunch
that's
of GBA games that were mainly re-releases.
yeah, but good ones.
Yeah, yeah, they were good ones, but, it's not like you're just like, "Wow, some banger games," It's like, "Okay."
Hey, for young millennials, good way to get us those Super Nintendo games, I'll tell you that.
Indeed. Now 2003, this is competing with 2001 in terms of, like,
This has
software releases, yeah.
some real fucking shit and a lot of it. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
this is a big one. 2003, we got Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. Already that's actually probably the best game on the GameCube.
It is,
Golden
yeah.
Sun: The Lost Age on the Game Boy Advance. WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games. Again, right? So that's where we get WarioWare. So that's a new franchise. That's a headline. Wario World on the GameCube. We had The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Master Quest. That was on the they had that
I've got
promotional
the
disc.
special edition disc, yeah.
Yeah, that also had Zelda 1 and 2 and Majora's Mask. Really great collection. Golf Toadstool Tour, excuse me. Kirby Air Ride, the original release of Fire Emblem in the West, Fire Emblem on the Game Boy Advance. So that's another, a big one. Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Brothers 3, Mario Kart Double Dash, a beloved entry in a great
Yeah,
franchise. Mario Party 5, one of your favorites. Mario and
the best
Luigi,
one.
sure, maybe. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, Game Boy Advance. That's another new franchise and another great game. And then F Zero GX and Sonic Adventures on the Game Boy or on the GameCube.
Oh,
Excuse me.
yeah, I know. Star Fox Adventure,
Sorry, not
like
Sonic. Star Fox
yeah,
Adventures. Excuse me.
which was I think Rare's the last game on a Nintendo console before they got purchased.
I think that's right. Right. Dinosaur Planet got turned into that, and the rest is, as
Mhm.
they say, history. Yeah, this is one with like like again, it's just like a lot of
But
it's a
I don't think
volume
it's
one.
quite Animal Crossing. I think it comes just below Animal Crossing for me.
I'm inclined to agree. I think that's a good place for it.
Okay, so this is the new number 7.
Cool. I like that. I think there's lots of good games there. I'm
Mhm.
into it. I'm into it. Okay, 2004. We got Pikmin 2 on the GameCube. Paper
Okay, so
Mario.
2004, one thing the big headline, the DS was released.
Ah, yes, of course. Who could forget, Steven? The DS is released in 2004. Thank you. And then we've also got Pikmin 2 on the GameCube, Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door on the GameCube, Mario vs. Donkey Kong on the Game Boy Advance, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes on the GameCube, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror on the Game Boy Advance, and Super Mario 64 DS on the Nintendo DS.
Now, the DS being released is quite possibly bigger than the Game Boy Advance being released in my mind,
Can we talk about how
because
the Game Boy Advance was only on the market by itself for 3 years? Isn't that
yeah, it's not
crazy?
not great, is
Feels like
it?
so much longer than that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. Like,
It's it's wild when you think about the fact that the Game Boy came out in 1989 and they stretched it until 2001, and then they're like 3 years later, they're like, I don't know, we gotta switch it up.
we got something fresh. Here we go. Have 2 screens. But the DS is the best-selling console of all time. So,
Handheld, right?
yeah, I think in total, isn't it?
I'm gonna fact check that one. I don't remember, I'm all I every time I think I have this right, I get it mixed up, so I'm gonna
But
look it up.
it's still the best-selling handheld of all time, which I think for me either puts it above the Game Boy being released or above the GameCube being released. Just the fact that the DS was released was so monumental for Nintendo. I mean, this let them dominate the handheld market even when they had the likes of Sony trying to come and compete with them with the PSP. All the way up to the Switch's release, which
Okay,
was,
so
13 years later.
if we are counting all, um,
The
like
DS
everything.
family of systems, yeah.
Yeah, but, like, I mean, like, everything, like, if you're comparing it to every console, right, it's
Is it
number
still
2
PS2?
behind the PS2, but it's by, like, a million units. They're, like, neck and neck. Um, Handheld is number 1. So, I think that's pretty significant.
Yeah. And, like, some solid releases. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, people think it's the best one in the franchise. It's getting a re-release this year.
I love Pikmin 2, right? Like, that's a
Pikmin
great
2 and
one.
Metroid Prime 2, both great games.
Yeah.
And I loved Super Mario 64 DS. I thought it was
Yeah,
great. I
it's
know a lot of people think it's not as good because you can play as different characters, but I love it.
I think I'm like with you, but, like, I don't like it. Like, I don't like saying that it's a better year than 2001 because I like that list of things better, but I
I
feel like
like that list of things better, but it's not as monumental of an
think
occasion,
I think you're right. I think you're right. I don't like it, but I think you're right. So that's number 3, we're saying?
Yeah, number 3.
God, that kinda sucks, huh? Okay.
I don't think it sucks. I loved my DS. Like, it was probably one of my favorite consoles I've ever owned.
Maybe my DS bias is showing. I feel like it's the one that I spent the least time with.
No, I loved it, and everyone did. The next year especially brought casual players into the
Yeah.
mix. Mums bought these consoles
So
at this
hey,
point.
we're gonna get to a point pretty soon where I'm very happy to lobby for the DS because my favorite, Pokemon generation is on there. So that's all right. We'll get there. All right, so let's move on into 2005, right? 2005.
Mm.
Game Boy Advance still going strong. DS in its second year. Weird, really weird that because I remember when the DS came out and they were like, "Hey, we're not like retiring the Game Boy.
Oh, they
It's
did
like
the same shit
the
with the
family,
Switch, though.
the family of systems." But like they actually put out a lot of relevant games on Game Boy Advance, like at least for a few more years, right? Like,
Yeah, but you could play them on your DS as well, though. That was the thing, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah, like you got rid of your GBA. Who cares? You're now playing it on a Game Boy that has like a backlit screen, and maybe you. But when did the SP come out?
yeah. When they made the Game Boy Micro too, like there's like 3 iterations of this thing.
SP came out in 2003, the same year, like a year before the DS.
That's so wild.
That's just mental.
That's why I never got one. Like I ended up getting a DS when it was new.
Absolutely mental.
Well, anyway, 2005. So we got WarioWare Touched, Yoshi Touch and Go, Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, Pokemon Emerald. I'm sorry, first two, WarioWare Touch, Yoshi Touch and Go are on the DS. Donkey Kong Jungle Beat is on GameCube. Pokemon Emerald is on Game Boy Advance. WarioWare Twisted is on Game Boy Advance. Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stones on Game Boy Advance. Kirby Canvas Curse on the DS. Meteos on the DS. Nintendogs on the DS. Advance Wars Dual Strike on the DS. Hey, we missed the original Advance Wars, didn't we?
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah,
Don't worry
somewhere on
about
there.
it. Just pretend it
Fine.
didn't happen.
Okay. Fire Emblem Path of Radiance on the GameCube, Mario Kart
That was
DS.
If you wanna know where it was 2001, so it's not really gonna sway,
No, but it's
where
another
that
feather.
game.
It's the same thing as when we forgot Banjo
Yeah.
Kazooie. It's like, okay,
I
another.
actually can't believe the date that that game released.
What is it?
September 10th, 2001.
That's wild. Are you
And then the
kidding?
re-release got delayed.
Yeah. What the hell? What a cursed franchise. That's crazy. What about the Dual Strike one? Did that come out the day of a war too? Jesus. Okay.
Probably, yeah.
Mario Kart DS, Animal Crossing Wild World on the DS, Mario Strikers on GameCube, and Mario and Luigi Partners in Time on the Nintendo DS is the last couple games that came out in 2005. This one to me feels akin to like a 2003,
Yeah,
right?
I was thinking the same, like, right below Wind Waker. Because
Also,
Nintendogs is huge.
we gotta I think we gotta move 2000 up maybe too. But I don't
What's 2000?
that's one
What,
of the ones that
Majora's Mask,
I
Perfect
think.
Dark? No.
Nah, I think it's too low. I think it's too low.
Above Donkey Kong?
I think maybe. I don't know.
Alright, I can
Maybe
go for
Donkey
that,
Kong's too
like,
low. I don't know.
no, we'll move it above Donkey Kong. I don't think Donkey Kong's too low.
Okay.
It's an okay game.
But
Sorry.
legacy, you
Yeah,
know,
I know, but it's like,
importance.
oh my
I
god,
think
this is
that
a
your
real
struggles
mess
from
now.
that being the only thing in it is more than anything of like, okay,
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, they released one other game, but no one played it, so we didn't even put it on the list. So 2005, we're saying this is below Wind Waker, above Zelda, like the original in
mm,
1987, or is
87.
it above Wind Waker?
No, I don't think so. I
No?
don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Alright, I think then I'm happy with it in number
There.
9.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. I'm good with that.
Alright, 2006 then, Pete. What we got?
Super Princess Peach on the DS, Metroid Prime Hunters on the DS, Tetris DS, Drill Dozer on the Game Boy Advance, Brain Age on the
Oh
DS, Mother
dear.
3 on the Game Boy Advance, although that never came to this date, so I don't know why that's on this list. New Super Mario Brothers on the DS, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon on the DS, Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2, March of the Minis on the DS, Pokemon Ranger on the DS, Yoshi's Island DS, Wii Sports on the Wii, Chibi Robo on GameCube, Kirby Squeak Squad on Nintendo DS, freshly picked Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land on Nintendo
So
DS.
you buried the lead then. The Wii was released.
Yeah, that's true. Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess on Wii and GameCube and Excite Truck. I forgot about the fact that the Wii came out this year. It's 2006. That's a big deal.
Yes, it's a
Um,
massive deal.
I also don't want to rank this one high though. It's the same way I feel about the DS here, where I'm like, yeah, but like these consoles are like they're so
Y-
big for Nintendo's financials, but man, like this is where you get into a creatively bleak era of all these like bullshit like casual games and it's like stuff that would be mobile games now. And I think this is why I stopped playing my DS, of like I don't know about, you know, Brain Age, right? Like it's like and I know people love Brain Age, but like I was not
Mm.
excited about Brain Age, right? Like that, I
But
was not
mums are across the nation were
yeah.
excited
Yeah,
about
and
Brain
and
Age.
I and I
Okay,
can't discount that, but it's not a year I'm excited to rank highly, you know?
look, Twilight Princess is my least favorite Zelda game of all time, and the Wii was released and Wii Sports was good. We all loved it at the time, but we were kids,
Yeah.
so
I also didn't like Twilight Princess at the time or now, so that's, like, another one that's tough
and
for me.
yeah.
Where it's
But I
like and again,
do
like, Wii
think the
Sports is such a monumental release, but it's like,
yeah.
I'm like I didn't like putting the DS above 2001. I really don't like putting this above that, like, uh,
No, I actually
how
think
many
this
of these
should
games are
be
memorable?
I think
It's
this
like
should be in, number 7 below the N64 release. Because I do feel like this is a generation that came and went, and we all moved on from motion controls and
yeah. It was a moment, and it was a big moment, but it was a moment. And
yeah,
I got
it
sick of it.
wasn't I think it should be above Animal Crossing in slot number 7.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think that's good. I think that's like acknowledging our bias enough. But, like it's fine. It's our list. If you're mad about it, go make your own. Or write a
Oh
comment.
god. We
What?
Fit now, Pete. 2007.
Again, I think this is a bleak couple years on some of these, but there are some really
Mario
there's some really
Galaxy.
good ones on this one. Mario Galaxy, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, like there's some fun stuff here for sure. Okay. So WarioWare Smooth Moves on the Wii, Hotel Dusk Room 215 on the DS,
Ugh,
or I'm sorry, Final
phenomenal.
Fantasy 6 Advance on the Game Boy Advance, Wii Play on Wii, Wario Master of Disguise on DS, Tingle's Balloon Fight DS, Custom Robo Arena DS, Super Paper Mario Wii, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Hey, the original Custom Robo is another game that we're missing. I'm pretty sure that was also 2001. Um,
Alright, okay, 2001. Just all out
custom
should be in slot number 1 then.
Custom Robo Arena DS, Super Paper Mario on Wii, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl on DS, Mario Party 8 on Wii, Planet Puzzle League on DS, Big Brain Academy, Wii Degree, Pokemon Battle Revolution, Wii, Mario Strikers Charged, Wii, P-Cross DS, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, DK Jungle Climber, Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass on the DS, Chibi Robo, Park Portal on the DS, Battalion Wars 2 on the Wii, Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn on the Wii, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games on the Wii, Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii, Mario Party DS on Nintendo DS, Link's Crossbow Training on Wii, and Wii Fit on Wii.
Oh,
I want to
that's
I
barely a game.
I want to rank this one low because this is a
Yeah,
lot
me
of
too.
releases, and I know a lot of these games are successful. But I think aside from Galaxy and Diamond and Pearl, like most of these games are not games that you would want to go back to.
Look, everyone should go play Hotel Dusk if they've not already. It's from the same company that made Another Code. I'm hoping at some point we get a re-release of Hotel Dusk. It's one of the best games on the DS. It's so creative. It's a wonderful game. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, not great,
Not a
but
good franchise, and
but
that
it
we're
is
still getting those things.
monumental in the fact that Mario and Sonic came together for the first time. It was the first time we saw those
Yeah,
key mascots
in
for different
extremely
companies.
disappointing fashion, though. It's like
Yeah,
that's like
I
what I feel
know.
like about this whole generation, where it's like the games that are good are sick, right? Galaxy is sick. I loved Brawl back in the day, but it's like, man, like so many of these games are like, I like Link's crossbow training. Like, come on,
It's not a
dude. Like,
game.
it's not a
I
game.
think this should go in at number 22.
22. Okay, so where does that put it?
So below Excite Bike and above Super Mario Brothers 3.
Nah. Nope. Nope. Nope.
All
Below
right.
Super Mario Brothers 3.
23 above Zelda 2.
Fine. And even that is feels generous, but whatever. I'm
Come
fine with
on,
that.
it's not generous. The Wii Fit was like a moment as well. And you can't deny that. And Mario Galaxy is a
Mario
very good
Galaxy is
game.
sick. You're right. And I like Diamond and Pearl. So fine. Fine. You're right. Those games are good. I hate the rest of these games.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna hate next year even more, right? Because it's the worst
Yeah.
Animal Crossing with City Folk in 2008, Advance Wars, Days of Ruin on the DS, Crosswords DS, Kirby Superstar Ultra on the DS, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, the DS version, Mario Kart Wii, which is a big game, but probably not one of the best Mario Karts. Professor
Not one
Layton and the
that's like
Curious
super well
Village.
remembered, I don't think.
No,
You
it's
know?
not. Smash Brothers Brawl and Wii Music. Remember playing the drums with the nunchuck and the Wii remote?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, Brawl is a good one, but I think there are a lot of people that would argue that that's probably the worst Smash. And then I agree with you that Animal Crossing City Folk is the worst Animal Crossing, and that's all we got on this one. So here's my
Well,
thing.
Mario Kart Wii is a big release because it is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
second biggest Mario Kart game released
right.
below Mario Kart 8, and Mario Kart 8 is only there because it's released on two
I want to
generations.
throw this at you though. To me, this is where Mario Kart begins the march that it's on now, where I think that the like original Mario Kart is unique in its own way.
Mm.
Super Mario Kart 64 is kind of like the game that sets what Mario Kart is, right? So like it's notable for that. Double Dash was a unique sequel that had a mechanic that's never had before and never returned since. I think this is the one where it's like this is where every Mario game or Kart game starts to just feel iterative to me a little bit, where it's like they kind of bleed together. Like 7 I think has its own identity because it's on 3DS, but like to me this is a game that feels like why would I play this when Mario Kart 8 exists?
You
And that
wouldn't,
doesn't
especially now they've ported over all of the maps to the
yeah,
kind of expansion pass that they did.
and that doesn't take away from what it was at the time and the
It
fact that
was huge though. This
it
was the
was.
first
And
on Mario Kart. You
and
could play with people around the world.
I think this was probably the one I would have argued was the best up until 8 maybe. But like now it has a little bit of that like Breath of the Wild problem where it's like is Breath of the Wild still like is that the second best game of all time now that we have Tears of the Kingdom? And I don't know. Like maybe, but like I think it does give you a little bit of that. Well, there's a better one now. And it doesn't have as much of its own identity
Mm.
aside
I
from
still
motion
think
controls, which we're kind of
I
out on at this point,
I
like
do still think that this does need to rank high. Like bringing online play to Mario Kart. I remember fondly playing the tournaments and the championships and like the special cups that they did and stuff.
here's
Like it was really cool.
here's my thing too. Like I have a bias for this year because I love Brawl. I recognize people's problems with Brawl, the tripping, like all that stuff, but like this is the Smash I played the most. Like this came out when I was, in high school and it was the Smash through my high school years and through my early college years. So like for many, many years this was the game I was playing with my friends every single week, and like I love it. And I just don't know that this year has a ton going for it.
I
Like,
I
those 2
think
games are big games, right? But, like,
I
they
think I
they
agree with you. I
this
think
is a
I'm
just the last thing I'm gonna say is I think this is a list of somewhat, like, unremarkable games in good franchises that were
I
maybe
agree.
revered at the time, but that has history has not been kind to.
L- Look, we love everyone loves Wii music. I get it, but we'll put it in at number 20. You reckon? Above
20.
Star Fox, below Metroid.
Hmm. Uh,
Because
uh
Mario Kart Wii for me is the best game on the Wii.
Alright, and Brawl is the best game on it for me, so sure. Yeah, let's do it. I'm comfortable with that, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, 2009.
2009. We're almost
Yeah.
getting almost to the almost modern era. All right, 2009, we have Excite Bots, Trick Racing, Fire
Oh
Emblem.
my god.
Sorry, that's on the Wii. Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon on the DS. Too Much Tingle Pack on the Nintendo DS. Rippened Tingle's Balloon Trip of Love on the DS. Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story on the DS, which many would argue is the best Mario and Luigi game. So that's pretty significant. New Super Mario Bros. Wii, which I think is arguably, to some people, the best Super Mario Bros. New Super Mario Bros. Game. I think at the very least, it's relevant for being the first one that introduced like the multiplayer angle to New Super Mario Bros., which obviously became like a staple of the
Was
console
this the
releases.
first new Super Mario Brothers? Because we haven't had
No,
another
no,
one of
no.
these yet.
We did. It was in 2006 on the DS.
Oh, I didn't put it on the list then if we did.
Well, we read it though. It was there,
Okay. All right. I
right?
missed the
That's that year,
headline.
isn't it? New Super Mario Bros. Is that right? Yeah, it's there. 2006.
Okay.
Which, yeah, I guess we kind of did gloss over that now that I think about it.
Because that's a big game.
That is a big game, and we did gloss over that because I think, okay, maybe we reevaluate that one
No, that
because
one's in the right place. We're not reevaluating it. It's in number 7. It doesn't deserve to go above number 7.
okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I just okay. You know what? No, you're fine. You're right. It's fine. It's okay. It doesn't
But
even need
it's
to be
not
there.
bigger than the N64, the Game Boy, the GameCube, the DS, the NES, or
No,
Pokemon.
but like that game is so like that revived 2D Mario. Like that is a big deal, and it brought back 2D platformers in a big way. Like that is a genre that kind of had fallen off, and that game like is like the best selling game on the DS, right? It's not nothing.
No, it's not nothing, but it's in the right place.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
I don't think 2009 has much going for it. A
Okay.
re-release of Punch-Out on the Wii Fit Plus, and Wii Sports Resort are just like, who
Oh, and then
cares?
Professor Layton is like that's
Oh,
a cool
great,
game.
another Professor Layton game, cool.
Is that
There's
not the first
another
one?
one. No, that's like the 3rd or the 2nd or the 3rd Professor
Gotcha.
Layton game.
Okay. Okay.
It's like, come on, like, great. So
Yeah, no,
Mum's got something new to play.
I think this one's got Bowser's Inside Story and Super Mario Bros. Wii. And I think Punch Out on Wii are all like good
This is number 20.
releases.
This is number 25. It's below Super Mario Galaxy for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. That's good. That's a good spot for it. Okay.
Okay, 2010.
Moving into the 2010s,
We
baby.
turned 18 this year, Pete, and Nintendo released every game under the sun.
There we go. Oh my god. Yeah, holy crap, they put
Don't
out
read them all. Read the headlines because a lot of these are just like the WiiWare, but the
sure,
DS
sure, sure,
version of the
sure.
WiiWare, like Chef.
Okay, fair enough. Art Academy on the Nintendo DS, Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii. That's a big one. Dragon Quest 9, Sentinel of the Starry Skies on the DS, Endless Ocean Blue World on Wii, Fling Smash on Wii, Fluidity. Oh no, that's a WiiWare. Mario Cement Factory. That's another
Just
one.
WiiWare. It's
Game & Watch
then it.
Collection 2 is what we'll say there. That's for all of them.
Okay. Golden
Oh
Sun,
my
Dark Dawn,
god.
Kirby's Epic Yarn,
Just like a lot of re-releases. Yeah.
Metroid Other M. No one likes that game, do they?
No, that's like the really sexist one. Mario versus Donkey Kong Mini Land Mayhem. They were like, hey, what if we had Samus talk for the first time and we made it sexist? Wouldn't that be cool? Then there's Heart
Mario
Gold and
Galaxy
Soul
2.
Silver. That's a big one. That is, I think, arguably the best Pokemon game ever, and definitely the best Pokemon game of the DS era. And most
Mm.
people would, not most, many people would agree with that. It's a popular opinion. Pokemon Ranger, Guardian Signs, Professor Layton, and the Unwound Future. Super Mario All Stars Collection, Super Mario Galaxy 2, obviously a big one. And then WarioWare DIY, and then Wii Party all came out.
This is another 20 slot for 25 for me.
I think it's higher.
Mm.
No? No, I do. I
Why?
definitely do.
Why?
Because Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver are arguably the best Pokemon game. I think you have Super Mario Galaxy 2, which is a better game than Super Mario Galaxy. You have um what else we got on here that was a good
Donkey Kong
one?
Country Returns and Metroid
Don-
Other M.
Metroid Other M sucks, but Donkey Kong Country Returns is again a really beloved game, a really beloved platformer. A
All
game
right,
people still talk about.
then give me an argument for where you want it and why.
I think I'd put it above 2007 because to me, the two things that landed 2007 as high as it did on that list were Super Mario Galaxy and Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and both of these are better
So we're
iterations
saying
of
it's
those
the new
franchises.
24.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine. I thought it was gonna be the new 25, so I'm fine with that, that's fine.
yeah.
I thought you were gonna
No,
put it way higher. I was like,
no, no, no.
"No."
The reason I recoiled was because I'm like, no, no, no. If the year that we put up because of Galaxy, then Galaxy 2 is a better game, and
That's
Heart
fair.
Gold, Soul Silver are better than Diamond and Pearl. So yeah,
Mm,
easy one. All the benefits of both of those titles, but better iterations of them. If you were only going to
see
play one of each of those are the two you'd play. So
mm, only one of those is available on the Switch because they never released Galaxy 2 for some unknown reason.
insane choice.
Alright, 2011,
2011. Oh,
Nintendo
you know what?
3DS was released.
2010, another relevant year. That was when I graduated high school, and then this is the year I started college. There you
Mm.
go. Relevant. We got born in 1992, so I guess we're calling those out, right?
Do you wanna
Yeah.
pause and tell people where they can support us, Pete?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Hey, thank you guys for tuning into another episode of Nintendo Noise. If you want to support the show, guess what? There's a bunch of ways you can do that. But before I tell you about them, I want to remind you, because I'm all out of sorts, that this episode of Nintendo Noise is brought to you by our Patreon producers for the month of March. For the last time, they are, of course, Arnold J. Rimmer, Christopher Lenz, Gabriel Hasselmeyer, a.k.a. Sobe, Snackago, Steve Stompy, Susan Likes Cats and Also Boobies, Ty the Dude, Voodoo Vic, and Wakahula. Thank you all so much for your support over on patreon.com/flipscreengames. You all the reals to the real, and we greatly appreciate your support of this and all of our sister shows. Remember, if you want to go check out those sister shows, if you want to show your support, if you want to write in and yell at us about this ranking, you can do all that and much more by heading over to flipscreen.games. However you choose to get involved, that is the best way to go and find us all over the web. Show your support, get involved in the community, however you choose to do so. Thank you for tuning into another insane episode of Nintendo Noise because I'm having a blast and I appreciate that y'all indulge us in these fun little thought experiments.
Right,
2011,
3DS.
3DS.
3DS was released, and we gotta stick to the headlines now because we're an hour in and we still got another 13 years to
Okay, let's keep it moving.
go.
So we got Dragon Quest 11, Realms of the Revelation, Dragon Quest Monsters, Joker 2, Kirby Mass Attack, Kirby's Return to Dreamland on the Wii, Mario and Sonic at the London Olympic Games, Mario Kart 7, Mario Sports Mix on the Wii, Nintendogs and Cats on the Wii, Pilot Wings Resort, Pokemon Black and White, Pokemon Rumble Blast, Professor Layton and the Lost Spectre, Star Fox 64 3D, Steel Driver, Super Mario 3D Land, Tetris Axis, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D, The Legend of Zelda Four Swords Anniversary Edition, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword on the Wii, and Wii Play Motion.
Okay, so
I
this one is
I think this
really
one is
fucking high up.
it's pretty high. Yeah, like there's I mean,
It's
yeah, console obviously is always like a weighted one. But again, I think there's multiple games on this list that if you ask people what are the best games on the 3DS, a couple of these would come up.
yeah, the Ocarina of Time and the Majora's Mask remakes always come up. Mario Kart 7 is bound to come up. Pilot Wings Resort and Star Fox 64 3D are bound to come up. I think for me, this goes in at slot number 3 above the DS release.
There's a lot of young people too who like really um I say young people. There are people my age that like it too. I just don't. There's a lot of younger gamers for which Pokemon Black and White is like the Pokemon game too. So
Mhm.
I think that's pretty
Did that come
significant.
out this year? Pokemon
Yeah,
Black and White?
Pokemon Black and
Mm.
White is in the middle. Um,
And 3D Land, I know is one of your favorite games.
yeah, I didn't even get to that. Like I really fuck with that game heavy. Like that game is a hard 10.
Mm.
So
I think this is number 3.
Who, number 3. Number
Yeah.
3. I feel like I like this year better.
I do, yeah. I think the 3DS is a better had a better release. I mean, granted, there was the whole debacle around it being overpriced and then them reducing the price and doing the, like, Ambassador Edition and all that stuff.
That to me feels like that should knock it down a peg when we're
Then
talking
number
about the
4?
context for Nintendo, like how it, because like if
Mm.
you know what I'm saying, like that was a big like the 3DS felt like it was floundering when it came out, and like I liked it, and I bought it year one and everything, but a lot of people were like, they
How are we
dropped the price
feeling?
in less than a year,
I
right? Like
know. It was within that year, within 2011. How are you feeling about number 4 then?
I
Below the
think
DS, above the GameCube
I think that's
in there.
good. I think that gives it its lumps without punishing it too much for because I think in the same way that you could say that it was a failure, they also pivot away from the failure. So like,
Okay.
you know, yeah, it's fine. Okay,
2012 then.
2012, good year,
2012.
good year. What do we got on this one? Art Academy lessons for everyone. Trying to skip a
Yeah,
bunch of
that's
silly
so
stuff.
we've got the
Kid
release of
Icarus
the Wii
Uprising.
U is the big thing this year.
Right, of course, the release of the Wii U, and then we have Kid Icarus Uprising. Kirby Dream Collection, Mario and Sonic at the London Games on DS, Mario Party 9, Mario Tennis Open, New Play Control Pikmin 2, which was like the Wii ports of the Pikmin games. New Super Mario Bros. 2, New Super Mario Bros. U, which I think is the best New Super Mario Brothers game. Nintendo Land, Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge on Wii U, Paper Mario Sticker Star, Pokemon Black and White 2, Pokemon Conquest, Professor Layton and the Mask of the Miracle,
God,
Rhythm
another
Heaven
one.
Fever, Sakura Samurai, and Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah, I mean, this is a decent year, but the release of the Wii U was a disaster,
Yeah,
and it only continued to be a disaster.
and I think it's like to me, this has the stink of some of the like this era of Nintendo that I hated, where it's like the continuing like we're just still putting out mid Mario Party games, and like it doesn't matter that they're mid and nobody cares about them, and like Mario Tennis Open is not like particularly memorable. Like there's like a lot like Paper Mario Sticker Star. I think most people agree is the worst Paper Mario, right? Like Nintendo Land was a disappointing follow up to, or not a follow up, I guess, but like a spiritual successor to Wii Sports. Like it Xenoblade Chronicles, I think, is the big win that this year has.
Yeah, I would
And
agree with that,
is
and
that
I
enough?
think
And again, New Super Mario Bros. U is a game I would stick up for. That is a really good game, but
I think it probably goes in for me, and this is crazy because it's new hardware at number 28.
28 behind New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story, and Wii Fit Plus, you're saying?
Yeah,
Ooh,
because
okay.
I think New Super Mario Brothers Wii did a lot more for Nintendo than New Super Mario Brothers U did.
I think that's right. I like that game more, but
But did anyone play it until they re-released it on the Switch? Probably not.
yeah, I don't know. Let me throw this at you. I kind of like it at 27 because I think
Okay.
ah, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe you're right.
I just don't think it is higher than New Super Mario Brothers Wii. I just don't.
And I want to give Xenoblade Chronicles its flowers because I know that
Yeah,
there's a diehard Xenoblade audience that really
I
loves that
know, but
franchise, and it's not the biggest Nintendo franchise, but it is one that has a lot of legacy and a lot of love for it. And like I think that
I
those
really
people would
think
argue
that
that
if
it
you
is bigger deal than that.
I don't know. I don't think it is.
So you want it at 28.
I think it belongs at 28, yeah. If you really think strongly 27, I'll, concede. I just don't think Xenoblade Chronicles is enough to beat out New Super Mario Brothers Wii. I just don't.
I'm with it. I'm with it. Go for it. You've convinced me. Sorry,
Okay,
Xenoblade fans. Sorry, Xenoblade fans. I tried.
2013. 2013.
2013.
We move on.
Animal
This is a
Crossing
big one.
Animal Crossing New Leaf, Art
Mm.
Academy Sketchpad, Brain Age Concentration Training, Dylan's Rolling Western, The Last Ranger, Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D, Fire Emblem Awakening, Game and Wario, Lego City Undercover, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, Mario and Donkey Kong Minis on the Move, Mario and Luigi Dream Team, Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 24 games,
Oh
Mario
my
Party
god.
Island Tour, NES Remix, Pokemon, new Super Luigi U, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Gates to Infinity, Pokemon Rumble U, Pokemon X and Y, Pikmin 3, Super Mario 3D World, Legend of Zelda, A Link Between Worlds, Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker HD, Wonderful 101, Tokyo Crash Mobs, We Fit You, We Party You, and We Sports Club.
I actually think this is a pretty strong year.
I was going to agree. I think this is arguably one of the better years of the Wii U's life cycle. I'm inclined to say this one's higher,
Yeah, I also think New Leaf alone makes it really high.
right? That's the best, Animal Crossing game up until the
And
newest
yeah.
one, arguably still, depending on who you talk to. Um, One of the best selling games on that console. And Fire Emblem Awakening is many people argue like where Fire Emblem like that was the game that saved Fire Emblem from ending
Mm.
as a franchise. Because it was so
So are we
successful.
saying it's above the original release of Fire Emblem then? It goes in at number 10?
Ooh. Ooh. Yo. Yeah. Yeah. I think it does. Because then you
Yeah,
get
me
Wind Waker
too.
HD anyway. Like, you're bumping Wind
Yeah,
Waker, but you're bumping it for HD? I mean, that's not bad. I'm alright
I
with that.
know.
There's something poetic
Yeah.
about that, you know? And, yeah, I think Fire Emblem Awakening is, like, that's a huge that really matters a lot. That really matters a lot. And Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, right? We're getting a re-release of that. That's a beloved game. It's brought back the Luigi's Mansion franchise. One of the better games on the 3DS. I think you got a lot of really good games on this list. NES Remix was a really cool game. Like
Mhm.
yeah. Pikmin 3, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Link Between Worlds also. Holy shit. That game's fantastic. That's one of the best games on 3DS. There you go. You get a lot. You get a lot
Yeah.
going on.
I mean,
2014.
there's some big ones here. We got Mario Kart 8, Bayonetta 2, Hyrule Warriors.
Bravely
Um,
Default, which I really like. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker.
yeah, this is a good year too.
Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, a game many folks would argue is the best 2D platformer ever, still being, ported to this day. Um, Let me see what else we got. Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Smash for Wii U and 3DS.
Yeah, which is a really good Smash game. Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. We had the Professor Layton and the Arzon Legacy, Steel Divers, Sub Wars, Tamagotchi Life, Yoshi's
I
New
like this
Island.
year. I
It's
like
it's a
this year.
it's a good year. I think it's a strong year.
I think Mario Kart 8 puts this pretty high for me. And I think it comes in for me at number 12, above Nintendogs and Animal Crossing Wild World.
Yes. Yep. Endorse. I like that. I think that's a good place for it. Here's where it starts getting bleak. 2015 Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, Animal
Oh,
Crossing
God.
Happy Home Designer on the 3DS, Art Academy Home Studio, Box Boy, Chibi Robo, Ziplash, Codename Steam, Devil's Third, Dr. Mario Miracle Cure, Fatal Frame, Maiden of the Black Water, Flipnote Studio. That's a never mind. That's a silly one.
You know.
Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, Mario Party 10, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars, Pokemon P-Cross, Pokemon Rumble World, Pokemon Shuffle, Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, Splatoon, which is cool, Super Mario Maker, which is
Yeah.
cool, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D, which is cool, Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes, Xenoblade Chronicles 3D, Xenoblade Chronicles X, Yokai Watch, and Yoshi's Woolly World on the Wii U. Um, this is such a tough one because like the games that are good are really good, but man, is there some schlock on this list.
There is, but like I think the creation of Splatoon here
It's the
was
first new
important.
IP for Nintendo in how long, and it was a
Yeah.
success. you
And
know?
Mario Maker, that people loved the Majora's Mask 3D remake, the Xenoblade Chronicles port to 3DS was great. I think this one's pretty high too. I don't think it's
You think it's
probably as
high?
high.
I don't think it's high. I think it saves it from being low, but I don't
Yeah,
think it's
by
high.
high, I don't think high. I'm thinking in the teens, but I'm not saying like high, but I do think it's more relevant than say Donkey Kong, and maybe we bump it above.
Nah,
No, when
no,
you're not gonna let
no,
me do that.
no, I think it's 21. I think it's below
You
Donkey
think
Kong.
21
It's a
above Super
mid-year. It's a
Mario?
mid-year with very good games in it. And I think that, like, those games being good, I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but it's like Splatoon was great. It launched a new franchise. It didn't save the Wii U, right?
Alright, okay. No, I can concede that.
You know what I'm
You're
saying?
right.
Like, it's like
Yeah, you're right.
it's a fine year, but this was the year where this is around that time where when I remember being like, maybe Nintendo should just not make hardware anymore because they can't
Yes.
support it, you know? And like, yeah, Splatoon is cool, but like, I didn't buy it because nobody was playing it, you know, and nobody I knew anyway.
Alright,
And Mario Maker
we got
was a moment, but it was a
we got
moment.
one last year of shit now, Pete. But at this point, Nintendo's telling us about the NX, and so,
Yeah.
it's almost its saving grace.
We'll get through this one quick. But this is Box Boy, Bravely Second, which was not very good. Dragon Quest 7 fragments. That's yeah, 7 fragments of the Forgotten Past. Fire Emblem Fates, Hyrule's Warriors Legends. I forgot to mention Hyrule Warriors the previous year. That also came out. Kirby Planet Robobot, which is a okay game. Mario and Luigi Paper Jam. Mario and Sonic at the Rio games. Mario Party Star Rush, Metroid Prime Federation Force, which was a game that broke Metroid fans' hearts.
Well, you
Miitomo.
know what? There's one big game on this.
What? Pokemon
Pokemon Go.
Go. Pokemon Go. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. Mini Mario and Friends, My Nintendo P-Cross, Paper Mario Color Splash. Oh god, Pocket Card Jockey, which was the horse game, Pokemon Sun and Moon, Pokken Tournament, which is cool, Star Fox Guard and Star Fox Zero, which are terrible, Super Mario Maker for 3DS, Super Mario Run on iOS, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD, Tokyo Mirage Sessions, #FE, and Yokai Watch 2. Pokemon Go is great. I am inclined to not rank that very high because it is not a Nintendo game. It is not on a Nintendo piece of hardware. Yes, it rose their stock, but I think that has more to do with people not really understanding what Nintendo has to do with it. You know what I mean? It's just like
We
that.
get
That
a
was
third of
that.
everything, like,
I'll
that
say
is a
this too,
big old game.
and I'll say this too, though. That game I think also helped push them into mobile and Super Mario Run and the DNA acquisition, all of which were failed experiments.
I loved Miitomo. I thought it was such a fun little thing.
Yeah,
I
for
thought
two
it was
weeks,
great.
and then it ended.
No, I played it up until they turned it off. I loved that game. I played it all the time. I thought it was hilarious.
Okay, I'll give you
But
that.
I am with you. I mean, this massively rose Nintendo share price by 10%. And then apparently by July, the shares rose as high as 50% because Nintendo got a
Yeah.
32% cut on everything that this
Uh-huh.
game made. So they made $17.6 billion in market cap since the game launched. It's a very
It's
relevant
important,
game in Nintendo's history.
and it was a really cool moment, right? Like, we talked about moments, like, that was a moment, right? Like,
Yeah, I remember
Pokemon
playing this
Go
with my
was
ex. Like,
special.
I'd walk around to the center of town with my ex. We'd like see other people. They'd be like, "Oh my god, there's fucking Charmander over there," and like we'd all kind of like run over. It was great. I loved it. I had such a
Where do
good
you want
time.
it?
Not high. Um,
It can't be
so
high.
I say all of that, and then I think it comes in at 25.
Okay. Yeah,
And I
I'm
think
with you.
that's purely because of Pokemon Go, really.
Yeah, definitely. There are other things on this list that are fine, but there are also, like, some of these are, like, some of the worst games in their franchises. Like, the worst Star Fox games, like Bravely Second, which was not good after Bravely Default was awesome. Like, um, yeah, there's some weak stuff on this list. Fire Emblem Fates is a game that people like as well. But, like, oh my god, Federation Force? Oh my god. What a slap in the face that was to Metroid
Yeah.
fans that just wanted a Metroid game. Crazy. 2017, we're moving into the modern era, okay? Here's where it gets good, everybody. The Nintendo Switch, arguably the best Nintendo console of all time, on its path to potentially be the best-selling console of all time or the best-selling Nintendo console of all time. Uh, I think I think inarguably the console that saved Nintendo's prospects as a
Mhm.
hardware developer, improving that they still had uh you know, room to innovate and lead a market and not react to things and turn out lesser versions of what had come before, right? Um, yeah, I mean, I don't think you can understate that. And then again, right? Like, let's not bury the lead. Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is one of the best games of all time. It is a game I would have argued was the best game of all time uh, up until very
Look,
recently.
it's not just Breath of the Wild. It's also Mario Odyssey. It's also Splatoon 2. It's also Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's also ARMS. It's also games being released on their older consoles like Metroid Samus
Yo,
Returns.
real quick, thanks for throwing arms on that list, Steve. I appreciate that. Like that was for me, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't work out great for them, but, like, it was a big game. Like, it was a big moment. It's like, this is the second new franchise that they've done since Splatoon, and they brought it out on a new console, and, like, man, I honestly think this is number 1 for me. 2017 is probably number 1 for me.
And Splatoon 2 is fire, right? Like that's like the best one in
Splatoon
that.
2 is fucking awesome.
Oh my god, yeah, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is this year. I forgot about that.
There's so much in this year.
Snipper clips, right? Like
Yeah,
Samus Returns on
I
3DS.
know.
That was a good one. That was like that's how we got Dread. Like that game is
Yeah, and Pocket Camp. Like, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp is their most successful mobile game that they've developed themselves.
no, no,
People
no, no.
still
That's
play
not
it
true.
to this
That's not
day,
true.
right?
That's not true. Fire Emblem Heroes is right.
Oh, yeah, Fire
That's
Emblem
made
is,
like
yeah.
a
No, they
lot of
didn't
money.
develop that in-house.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's number 1.
I think it's number 1
I think
too.
it's
I
number
really
1.
do.
I think it's
Yeah,
number 1. I think we're far enough removed that we can say it's not recency bias. It's number 1, baby. It's
yeah,
number
it's
1.
just the fact that it was, like, that year it was, "Oh, is it gonna be Breath of the Wild or is it gonna be Super Mario Odyssey that's the best game of the year?" It's like, come on, man, that nobody has, like, come close to that since.
Has there ever been another year where Nintendo had 2 games that were game of the year contenders that everyone's like, "Yeah, it's this or it's
It's
that,"
one
and
of those, though,
it's
yeah.
not another game, right? Like,
No.
that's everything. It's the whole package, right? Like, it's
Mhm.
the release of arguably the best console. It's the release of some of the best games that they've ever put out. It's a volume of some of the best games they've ever put out, right? Like, and I think again, you can't understate like what it meant to turn their fortune with that release and to have people
Oh, yeah,
believe
like,
in Nintendo again.
people are actually going, "Oh, that's cool. I actually really want that console, like, that's awesome." And
Yeah,
they
it
brought
made
back,
Nintendo cool again. That's a good way.
yeah,
That's a good way to put it. It did. It did. It made
like,
them
people
feel
were just like,
relevant
"Oh,
again.
Nintendo's the thing for kids, no one cares. I played a Wii, and I'm not bothered about the Wii U. I don't want that little touchpad thing for it." And, we moved over to the Switch, and everyone it was cool again, I could play fucking Skyrim on an airplane, like, wow, this is
I could
awesome.
play Breath of the Wild. That's
Mm.
the game of the year, right? Like, yeah, man, come on. All right, 2018, Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2 got re-released. Captain Toad Tracker got re-released. Detective Pikachu came out. Dylan's Deadbeat Breakers came out. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze got a re-release. Dragalia Lost, rest in peace. Uh, Dragon Quest Builders, Pokemon Quest, Go Vacation, Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, Kirby Battle Royale, Kirby Star Allies, Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS, Mario Tennis Aces on Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Labo, Octopath Traveler on Nintendo Switch, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Pokemon Quest, Super Mario Party on Nintendo Switch, Super Smash Brothers Ultimate on Nintendo Switch, Sushi Striker Way of the Sushido, The World Ends With You Final Remix, WarioWare Gold, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torn that's DLC, and Yokai Watch Blasters something something something.
For
This one
me, this
is mid.
yeah, well, I think Smash Bros. Ultimate is a big one.
Smash is I think what keeps it in running for
And
like
I and
not
I
being
I
low.
think Let's Go was a big thing as well, like the first Pokemon game on the
I
Switch.
guess, but
Labo was a fun experiment.
yeah, but it's a fun experiment that didn't pan out, and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee feels like an experiment that didn't pan out, or that it felt like a stopgap, like it was a
Yeah,
re-release of an old, it's like, I don't know. Kirby Star Allies is not exciting either, right? Like Luigi's Mansion is a re-release. Tennis Aces is not exciting. It was not good. Dragalia Lost was a failure. Like Tropical Freeze is a great game that got re-released. Bayonetta 1 and 2 are great games that got re-released. Captain Toad, right? But I don't know. I feel like it's like Super Mario Party was not what we wanted. I think it's
no.
Smash is doing the heavy lifting on this year. So to me, I feel like it can rank as high as a game carried by 1 year can rank, but like
I think it's 15.
ahead of the original Zelda, behind Nintendogs and Animal Crossing, Wild World, and Pokemon Emerald and Super Mario. Yeah. Ooh. That's tough. Part of me wants to put it at 16, but that
Yeah?
feels low because Smash Ultimate is so good, but it's also like that's the first Zelda. And like Smash Ultimate it's the ultimate Smash though. It is the best Smash.
Alright, let's do 16 then. I can agree with that because we got Brawl and no, Melee further up, and I think that's also the one that a lot of people consider to be the best Smash
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Certainly the one with the longest footprint. It
Mhm.
remains to be seen whether Ultimate will retain that title, depending on like where the franchise goes or whatever. Okay, I'm comfortable with that. 2019, Astral Chain, Box Boy plus Box Girl, Damon X Machina. God, remember Damon X Machina? What a Oh, hey, 2018 also notable. That's when we became friends. So I actually put that at number one.
Really good. Yeah, yeah.
Fire Emblem Three Houses, high one. Fitness Boxing, Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn, Luigi's Mansion 3, Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser's Junior Journey, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, RIP, that never happened. Mario Kart Tour, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Nintendo Labo Toy-Con 4 VR Kit, Pokemon Masters on mobile, Pokemon Sword and Shield on Nintendo Switch, Super Mario Maker 2, Tetris 99, the Stretchers, excuse me, Yokai Watch 3, and Yoshi's Crafted World.
I think this is a pretty big year. Pokemon Sword and Shield, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Mario Kart Tour, which is a real success for them. Luigi's Mansion 3, which is a phenomenal game. I
Yeah,
actually think this is a pretty good year.
I agree. I think this one's pretty high. It's a
I
lot. It's a
think
lot of good games.
I think this comes in at 12.
12. So you're saying 12 would knock down Wind Waker, WarioWare, Fire Emblem, Mario Kart Double Dash, Mario Party 5, F-Zero
Mm,
GX, and Star Fox Adventures, and it would come in behind the second year of the Wii U.
yes, because we've got Animal Crossing New Leaf in there and Wind Waker HD.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think that's good. I think that's a good spot. I dig it.
You've definitely got your numbers off here, Pete, because we're only up to 2020.
Dang. So it wasn't 41 years, huh?
No,
Damn. How many years is it?
44.
Fuck. That's why you do the maths. All right, 2020, baby. Animal Crossing New Horizons. Clubhouse Game 51, Worldwide Classics. Good job. Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity. Jump Rope Challenge. Kirby Fighters 2. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. Paper Mario, The Origami King. Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Pokemon Cafe Mix. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. Super Mario 3D All Stars. Super Mario Bros. 35. Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Hashtag FE Encores re release and Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. So this is an interesting one. I think Animal Crossing is doing a lot of the heavy lifting on this one in the same way as the Smash year did, but I think the other games around it are better. A lot of the good ones are re-releases, but like there's good releases.
And I loved Good Job. That was
Yeah.
great. Also, I cannot like sell how much this game got me through a pandemic. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it did. And I
And I think
think
the
for
way that, like, we used it to foster community online, like, to connect with people, like, and, like, stay connected and stuff like that through Animal Crossing was, like, huge, you know? Like, yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
You
I
can't
think for me, this ranks really high because of that. Um, but yeah, am I biased because of that? Or is
I don't
Animal Crossing New Horizon that good of a release that it can be that high?
I don't think it matters. I think it's fine if we wanna say that because I think
I think it comes in at, like, number 6 for me.
I'd also argue that part of it, like, when we're talking about, like, how important it is for Nintendo, the pandemic and the success of Animal Crossing, like, fucking rocketed the Switch up, right? Like,
Mm.
in a big way.
I couldn't get one. I wanted to get one for my ex, and I couldn't get one in stores. I had to buy a used one for them.
So you're saying 6.
Yeah, I think we bumped the GameCube and the GBA down because of Animal Crossing.
See, I was kinda feeling 10 because then I think
10?
it ranks that highly based on 1 game.
Okay, yeah, that's fair because 'cause we've got Animal Crossing. We're bumping the original Animal Crossing down. I'm
Yeah.
okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I do really fucking love that game.
Me too, me too. And I like, I I really liked Pikmin 3 Deluxe that year too. That was one of my favorite games. So
Mhm.
and Mario 35 is really cool for what it was. So, yeah, I mean, I think to me though, it's like that
But I
game is
didn't like
doing
their
so
shenanigans.
much.
Did not
Good.
like the shenanigans they pulled with Mario 35 or with the Mario
No,
3D All-Stars. That was
me neither.
bullshit.
I do think that that game's, like, doing a lot of the heavy lifting though, so that I think that's probably as high as I think I'm comfortable making it. I do think it's interesting that there are 3 years in a row with Animal Crossing. 2020, 2002, 2013. That's really funny. Speaks volumes about how highly we think of the good Animal Crossing games. Okay, 2021. Last couple years. Big Brain Academy, Brain vs. Brain, Bravely Default 2, Return to Form, Game Builder Garage, Mario Golf Super Rush, Mario Party Superstars, Metroid Dread, woo, Miitopia, New Pokemon Snap, DC Superhero Girls Teen Power, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, Pokemon Unite, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, WarioWare Get It Together. High. I think this is high.
Oh, I don't know about high.
Not
Because of
crazy high.
Dread?
Metroid Dread. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dread
that's
is
the
awesome.
only game on here. Our 3D World of Bowser's Fury was good, but
And
that was like a
new Pokemon Snap. I know not for you, but a highly anticipated game, a game people asked for years, and it came out and it was good.
yeah, I don't know that it
To
was
me, that's 3 big headlines. That's Metroid
yeah,
Dread, new Pokemon Snap, and Bowser's Fury are all really good games.
yeah, okay. I don't think it's that high though for
And
me.
Superstars we liked a lot.
Yeah, I did actually.
That's like the first really good Mario Party game in a long time.
Okay,
It
I
doesn't
missed
need to
that
be
one.
crazy high, but I think those are 4 good headlines. I think those
No,
are
I do agree with you. I do think it's 4 good headlines. I think I'm inclined to say it's like 16?
I'm thinking I'm thinking 21.
20? Okay. 21. Below this oh,
Below the Super Nintendo? No? You think it's too low?
I just well,
You
yeah,
were
I
over here
do.
arguing that it wasn't high.
I just don't think, fucking Pokemon Let's Go and Smash Bros. Ultimate should be above Metroid Dread.
Hmm, that's interesting. I don't know.
Like 3D World and Bowser's Fury, phenomenal. Mario Party Superstars is the best Mario
Half
Party
of that's a
ever.
re-release though.
Yeah, it is, but I can play it online with my friends for the first time
Yeah,
ever.
that's cool. That's the ultimate Smash game though, Steve.
Yeah, well, maybe that's my bias because I think Smash is boring, but
Yeah,
um
you gotta check your bias on that. Come on.
yeah, I do, but I also don't and it's also that game is extremely important for Nintendo, I get that. It was one of the best selling games on the console. So maybe it comes in below that. At
Well, and
I think it probably
Bravely
comes in
Default
at
2 is a good one that year too. I don't know.
okay.
I think to me it's like there's a lot of really good games here, but like there are also some of them are
Yeah, you know what? I'll go with 20. That's fine. We can go with 20.
okay.
I think that's a good spot for it.
Good compromise. I'd
All right.
probably go 21, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Oof, I don't know. Above Super Mario World.
No, you're right. It shouldn't be above. No, it should. It should. Metroid Dread is phenomenal,
It
and
is.
we've already got the re-release of Super Mario World further up because it came out with the GBA.
Ah,
So
right. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. That's okay, I guess. Okay. Home stretch, baby. Home stretch. 2022. Advance Wars 1 plus 2 reboot camp. Still haven't gotten to play that. Devastating news to me. Bayonetta 3. Big Brain Academy, Brain vs. Brain, Fire Emblem Warriors, Three Hopes, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Kirby's Dream Buffet, Mario plus Rabbids, Sparks of Hope, Nintendo Switch Sports, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Splatoon 3, Triangle Strategy, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I think this is high. There's a lot of really good games on
um,
this. And not like crazy high, but like there's good shit on here, you know?
the two Pokemon games carry it.
And we really liked Kirby.
I did, yeah. And Bayonetta 3, I guess, was a decent
I think
release.
Bayonetta
I don't
and
think,
Advance Wars are lesser releases, but they're still good.
yeah.
You know, like it props up what is already a good year. I think Splatoon 3 is in that same category for me where it's not a great release, but if you
No, it's
liked it,
not.
it was, you know, and
Where are you thinking?
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was a really big one that year
Oh,
too.
I
Like,
forgot that was there. Yeah, that's a big release.
but to me, I think this has juice. Mario Rabbids is another smaller game that I think bolsters this as a good year.
Yes.
Where? Where does it go?
18.
18. Above Pokemon Let's Go, below the original Zelda.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It is the best Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Okay.
Are you
Yeah.
thinking higher or lower?
I don't know, like higher, but like I don't know what I would put it above. Is where
Because I don't
ah
think it comes above Mario Kart DS
I could
or Mario Kart 8.
I could put it over 2005 easy though. I think it's
Alright, let's
better
do
than
that then.
Nintendogs or any of those games, like no question.
What, Mario Kart DS? Maybe. No one really thinks about that one, do they?
Not really,
Yeah.
you
Alright then,
know.
we'll shove it there. That
It's
seems like a good
fine.
place.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot for it. I think it could. Yeah, I mean, I think it could maybe even go one higher, but I think I'm good with it there. Okay,
No, I don't think it goes higher.
okay. So that's
I don't.
20.
It's that was 2022. I don't think it goes above Mario Kart 8. Like that is like a massive game for Nintendo. Mario Kart 8.
Yeah. Okay. You're right. You're right. I think I'm good with that. Okay. So, oh, I'm realizing something though. Advance Wars was not out that year. That was when it was supposed to come out. It's out 2023 in the next year, right? It was last year, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I don't know if it. Yeah, yeah.
That's
Oh
fine.
well.
That's just a mistake. That's fine. That's fine. I don't think that changes anything. Okay. Last one that we're gonna rank, and I think a really interesting one that could shake things up a little bit. Advance Wars 1 plus 2 Reboot Camp, Bayonetta Origins, Detective Pikachu Returns, Everybody's 1-2 Switch, Fire Emblem Engage, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, Metroid Prime Remastered. Here's where we get to the big stuff. Pikmin 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Super Mario RPG, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, lesser extent, WarioWare Move It.
Oh my god.
Ah,
It's so for me, it's the Mario and the Zelda that's doing it again. But Pikmin's a strong release, but I don't think it's as strong as Nintendo would have liked.
I actually disagree. It raised the bar for that series sales wise. It's not S rank, but I think it moved up a tier for me. I think it went from being like a B tier series to an A tier series, maybe.
Yeah, I as much as I love these games, I think it's like number 4. or 5?
I I like it at 4. I like 4. I think 4 is
Above the
good.
DS.
Yeah, I do. It's
Yeah,
not
I
it's
think
it's
I
not it's
agree
not
with
to
you.
discredit it's not to discredit the DS, and that's again, it's DS, but it's also Pikmin 2, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, Metroid Prime
Mm.
2, Super Mario, like, those are really, really good games.
The DS
Um,
launched with, like, 1 game. It was it was 64 DS, and we had to wait the next year for the rest of them.
Whereas this is, I mean, I like, as much as one game can carry a year, Tears of the Kingdom is the best game Nintendo's ever put out. I believe that. And that I think that means it has to be in the top 5. And then I think when you add on the idea that, like, Mario Wonder came out, which is the kind of refresh for, the Mario franchise, with Pikmin 4, like, being a really great game. And here's another thing I'll throw at you, Steve, which we didn't even think about. Mario movie comes out this year and the theme park. Does that do anything for you?
Mm.
Because here's my thing. Is that more important than the NES? Probably not. Right. But
It's
I
more
mean, if
important
it
than the DS. Yeah, I think you're right. I think 4 is the right place
I mean,
for
like,
it.
think about the ways that Nintendo expanded their already incredibly successful company into a multimedia empire that year. Not
Yeah.
only through releasing killer software, but releasing a billion-dollar movie, right? And setting themselves up as a movie studio, and then getting into theme parks and really and opening 2 different theme parks. The third one is going to open now, right? But like, yeah, that's pretty significant.
Okay. I'm with you. Number
Locked
4.
in at 4. Okay.
I think we should just recap the top 10, and then we'll put a link to the spreadsheet
A
if
full
people wanna
list.
have a look,
I
and
like
if
that.
you wanna see it on video while we're doing it, head over to YouTube and you can have a look.
I like that. Okay. So to recap our top 10, coming in at number 1, we have 2017 with the release of the Nintendo Switch, headlined by Breath of the Wild, Splatoon 2, Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, ARMS, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, Metroid Samus Returns on the 3DS, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. What a year. 1998, headlined by the release of Pokemon, Zelda Ocarina of Time, the Game Boy Color, and Banjo-Kazooie. 1985, the release of the NES and Super Mario Brothers, as well as Duck Hunt and a couple other great games like that. 2023, Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, Fire Emblem Engage, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, Pikmin 4, and Metroid Prime Remastered. 2004, the release of the DS, Pikmin 2, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, Metroid Prime 2, and Super Mario 64 DS. 2011, the release of the 3DS, Mario Kart 7, Nintendo Dogs and Cats, Pilot Wings Resort, Star Fox 64 3D, Super Mario 3D Land, and Ocarina of Time 3D. Number 7, 2001, the release of the Game Cube and the Game Boy Advance, as well as Mario Land 4, Mario Kart Super Circuit, Pikmin, Luigi's Mansion, Paper Mario, Pokemon Crystal, and Smash Bros. Melee. Number 8, the release of the Game Boy alongside Tetris and Super Mario Land and Alleyway. And number 9, 1996's Nintendo 64 release, Super Mario 64 and Mario RPG. And finally, coming in at number 10, 2006, with the release of the Wii Sports, Twilight Princess, Brain Age, and New Super Mario Brothers. Ooh, I think this is a good list, Steve. I think we did a good job.
I think we did too. It was and if you've listened through to the end, you listened through 43 years of Nintendo, please let us know what you think, because I'm sure you were probably screaming at some point as to where we put one of the years.
Probably, probably. But I stand by it. So that's all that matters. I can sleep sound.
Yeah, it's
So
our
thank you guys.
list, so
Thank you guys for tuning in to both parts of these incredibly special and incredibly long episodes of Nintendo Noise. This was a blast. I had a great time doing this. I've been wanting to do this since the end of last year. Uh, Figuring it would be a long, meaty episode. So I hope you guys had a good time with it. I hope it was. You hope you were into the 2-part format. I would love to hear from you guys about that because obviously, we've been doing a lot of games. We've been doing a lot of more evergreen stuff this year. I would love to do some more history stuff, maybe stuff that takes more research and is more friendly as a 2-parter. If you guys liked it, let us know. If you didn't like it, let us know. I'd love to hear your ideas for some stuff that we could do in 2024 while we're waiting for Switch 2. So I hope that this was a fun exercise for you as much as it was for us. And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Nintendo Noise. Remember, if you want to get involved and show your support, if you want to go see the full list of 43 entries, you can do all that and much more by heading over to flipscreen.games. That's our website where you will find links to all the places we are all over the web, including our Discord, including our Patreon, if you want to go above and beyond and show your support, including our email address where you can write in for the question block and tell us why our list is bad and yours is better. However you choose to get involved, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Nintendo Noise. We love you. For the crew, I've been Pete. He's been Steve. We'll see you next week.